Like they were like he was very overrated in my opinion. But once I stepped in with him and I felt him, and now that I beat him, I think this one is going to be easy.
De verdade, não é pressão. Mas não aceito perder essa luta, velho. Eu não aceito, velho. Não aceito.
Magomed Ankalaev has fired back at Alex Pereira, calling him a liar and promising to beat him. His strong words have stirred debate in the MMA world, with fans wondering if this is anger or just fight build-up. The heated exchanges between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev have sparked reactions from MMA voices online. Some see it as mind games, while others feel it has gone too far. The MMA guru recently shared his thoughts, questioning why Ankalaev is making excuses and pointing out how both fighters are acting differently than usual as the UFC 320 rematch draws closer.
I haven't killed in weeks, I need to kill again. If Alex was supposedly greased, even though he couldn't be, what's to stop him from doing it again? Why is Ank making excuses when he won the fight? I don't know what the situation is overall between the two of them, but it's just a bit gay, man. I don't know what they're doing. It's just lame. Ankalaev is clearly not the guy talking the way he is on Twitter, and he's a bit of a fucking inbred tard that just sort of goes and gets angry. Like, there's nothing to him because he's a mush-brained bred backwards cunt. But Pereira's being a bit weird as well. Pereira's all of a sudden this flamboyant, sassy guy. So I don't even know what to think about it. But he does seem confident, though. They both seem confident.
Meanwhile, not everyone agrees on whether this rematch will deliver something new for the division. While some are excited, others feel it may not bring anything new. Nick Barnhill recently shared his breakdown of the fight, explaining why the first matchup changed expectations around Pereira, and why many still question if he can solve the puzzle Ankalaev presented when they first met.
Yeah. Magomed Ankalaev is going to defend his belt against Alex Pereira. Now, this is a rematch, and a lot of people aren't all that thrilled for it. Remember the first time this came around, everybody was very excited, and it felt like Magomed had been long deserving of a title shot. He goes and plays spoiler, takes the belt from Pereira, and everybody says, okay, well, we found the big chink in Pereira's armor. I think Magomed's got the answers, and I don't think Pereira can solve them. Well, the UFC realizes how important of a fighter Poatan is on the roster.
After setting the stage, Barnhill pointed to the UFC's decision-making. He noted Pereira's value to the promotion, and why granting him a rematch made sense. Still, he explained that Pereira faces a difficult challenge unless he makes major changes. Barnhill detailed Ankalaev's control in their first fight, and emphasized the significance of Pereira defending against 12 unsuccessful takedown attempts.
And he's done a lot of work for the UFC in a short amount of time. So I'm for them giving him this rematch. But I'm kind of the same level of agreement that he is going to have a hard time if he doesn't change a few drastic things about his game plan on beating Ankalaev. I don't see, if he comes in with the same style and the same game plan using the same weapons, that he will have any more success against Ankalaev. But Ankalaev knows exactly where he can control the fight. And the biggest thing is he was 0 for 12 on takedowns against Pereira, which is big. And that was a big feather in the cap for Pereira. But the issue is Ankalaev, even through those missed takedown attempts, shows us, okay, maybe I can't get this guy down, but I can still control the fight on the feet, and that's exactly what he did.
Barnhill then shifted to Pereira's striking approach in the first fight. He highlighted moments of success such as calf and leg kicks, but also pointed out areas where Pereira could have mixed his attacks better. According to him, Ankalaev's striking first style and control at range prevented Pereira from landing his signature shots, forcing him to wait for openings that never appeared.
For a striker like Pereira to be controlled on the feet and then most of his weapons taken away, I mean, it felt later in the fight like he was just waiting around for a left hook, the perfect opportunity, which you can't find on a guy like Ankalaev. He's too good at getting in and out of range. So Pereira was kind of waiting for that. And then the calf kicks and the leg kicks were impressive. He did do some damage there. But again, I don't think he was mixing up the ranges of his kicks and the level of his kicks. I think he should have gone a little bit more with the head kicks because, again, Magomed, even though he comes from Dagestan and he's got great grappling, he's not a grappling forward fighter. He's a striker first and knows how to grapple well. When you're fighting a guy like Pereira, who is a world-class striker, it makes sense to try to take him down. But Ankalaev's confidence must have shot through the roof when he was 0 for 12 on takedowns, which doesn't feel like a great stat, but at the same time controlled 25 minutes against a high-level striker on the feet.
Moving on, Magomed Ankalaev recently addressed his first fight against Alex Pereira at UFC 313. He reflected on the challenges he faced during that training camp, including injuries and limited preparation. Ankalaev also discussed aspects of the fight that affected his performance, hinting at unusual difficulties he experienced with Pereira's movement. His comments give insight into why the first matchup unfolded the way it did and set the stage for their rematch.
To be honest with you, I went through a lot when I was fighting for the title. That training camp was terrible. I couldn't wrestle for the most part of the training camp. I was battling a lot of injuries, and there was a lot of reasons, you know. Also, I told my coach right away during the rounds that that I felt like he was greased. He was just too slippery, you know. And these things happen in professional sport. I'm not accusing him of anything, but that's just what I felt. I spar every day, I train every day. You could feel when people are slippery. It's too much slippery. So I felt he was too greasy, you know? And that played a role also.
After reflecting on the difficulties he faced in their first fight, Ankalaev shared his outlook for the upcoming rematch. He explained that having already faced Pereira gives him a clearer understanding of how to approach the fight. Ankalaev believes that experiencing Pereira in the octagon changed his perspective, making him confident that the second matchup will be more manageable than the first.
I think this fight is going to be much easier for me because I already know how to fight with him and stuff. Before we fought last, like everyone around him, I think the media too, like they were like he was very overrated in my opinion. But once I stepped in with him and I felt him, and now that I beat him, I think this one is going to be easy.
Meanwhile, with the rematch against Alex Pereira just around the corner, all eyes are on Magomed Ankalaev and his training camp. After reviewing his past performances and expert analysis, it's clear that Ankalaev has been focused on sharpening his striking, defense, and overall game plan. Observers say he looks confident and in excellent shape, showing he's prepared to bring his best performance against Pereira. While Ankalaev shows focus and readiness, Alex Pereira is also preparing intensely for their rematch. Pereira spoke about his sparring and the support he gets from his father and close friend Kaue. He explained that having them in his corner gives him energy and confidence, helping him stay motivated and sharp as he works to improve his skills before facing Ankalaev again.
Eu fui campeão? Sim. Do Glória. Mas quando eu fui campeão contra o Adesanya, meu pai tava lá no corner, tá? Meu pai nunca nem entende de luta. Porra, nunca assistiu treino meu. O time tava lá comigo, entendeu? Energia, meu pai, entendeu? De Cauê, meu amigo. Pô, cara aqui, pô.
Furthermore, Dan Hardy weighed in on Alex Pereira's future and the challenges of moving up in weight. He explained that while Pereira could take on bigger fighters, it might not be the right time. Hardy noted that Alex recently moved up from middleweight and has yet to prove the same level of success against larger opponents, highlighting the careful planning needed for his next steps in MMA.
I don't know. I mean, I think he could, but I don't think it's the right time to do it. You know, I think if it was obviously if he got the opportunity for some kind of showcase bout against John Jones, then yeah, fair enough. Because, John, even at this point, is still not the biggest of heavyweights. But Alex moving up to take on someone like Tom Aspinall or even someone, that's within striking distance of the heavyweight title, they're a lot bigger. There are some big boys up there. And Alex, remember, had made middleweight only shortly, only a short time ago. I don't know if he has the same kind of success at heavyweight that he is right now.
Hardy then discussed the UFC division's evolving landscape and the upcoming competition for Pereira. He pointed out that even if Pereira wins his rematch with Ankalaev, new fighters like Carlos Ulberg could challenge for the title. Hardy emphasized that the division is preparing for fresh contenders, meaning Pereira will face ongoing challenges if he stays, and moving to heavyweight might not allow him the same dominance.
I think he can absolutely dominate this division, and I think he needs to. I think, honestly, if he wins the belt back here, he's going to have to beat Ankalaev a second time anyway, isn't he? So, he's going to be in this division for a while. And then by that time, you've got people like Carlos Ulberg coming through and making an argument for title shots. So I think this division's ready for a refresh. And I think that, there are going to be some people coming through in this division that by the time we've seen this trilogy of Ankalaev and Pereira over, if obviously he wins this weekend, I think there'll be some new title contenders. So I just don't see him at heavyweight anytime soon having the same kind of impact.
Adding on, as discussions around fight preparations continue, Paul Felder shared his insights on weight cutting and hydration in MMA. He explained how a fighter's size and muscle mass affect how they manage weight leading up to a bout. Felder pointed out that even when a fighter appears heavy on the scale early in camp, it doesn't reflect their real readiness, and final adjustments usually happen just days before the fight.
It's a lot, but I think when you're that big and you have that much muscle, he's going to sweat a lot of that out. And I think that's really just telling you he hasn't even had to really start trying to dial it in until probably the week of, maybe 5-6 days out. He starts really dieting, starts water loading. And I guarantee already after a couple days of that, he's probably losing 8 to 10 pounds, just flushing out his system, cutting out a lot of sodium, cutting out a lot of. So
Yeah.
it's easy to get on the scale then when you're fully hydrated up. You haven't really started cutting, because when he was at 85, it was probably a different story. He was probably doing that, but he was dieting far out. Whereas now he's making it look like, I think it's purposely being put out.
Furthermore, UFC legend Mark Coleman shared his thoughts on the rematch between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. He said Pereira is an elite fighter, but noted that training camps can be challenging and unpredictable. Coleman reminded fans that even top fighters can lose on any night. He emphasized respect for both athletes and highlighted that the outcome of the fight is never guaranteed, keeping fans excited and cautious.
Well, hell yeah, anybody can get it back. He's
Right.
elite of the elite. You know, maybe who knows what was going on during his training camp, but on his best night he can beat anybody. But this Ankalaev guy, he's the real deal. Same thing. Anybody can win a fight. We'll have to wait and see, find out. I hope they're both healthy and ready to because this is the one Pereira.
You'll be front row, right?
Pereira was my all-time MVP. When he come in, I started following him immediately. He became my favorite for a long time.
Coleman also talked about how much he admires Alex Pereira and how excited he is for the rematch. He said he will be watching from the front row and can't wait to see both fighters in the cage. Coleman added that he will make his final judgment after seeing them fight, showing how unpredictable fight night can be and how much fans are looking forward to it.
I love Brazil. Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
I like a lot of them though, man. I like a lot of these guys. I'm a super fan, but Ankalaev just as much because I'm infatuated with them countries over there.
So we're
Russia and all that
5 days out. If you had to bet, put your money on Ankalaev or Pereira, who you picking?
I gotta see them in the cage and look how they feel weighing down. I gotta see what I see in there, man. Then I might make my pick. But
you'll be there.
it'll be, oh yeah, I'm front row, man. Dana always takes care of me, man. I'm blessed.
Yeah, Dana.
After insights from analysts and UFC legends, fighters Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo shared their thoughts on Alex Pereira's chances against Magomed Ankalaev. They debated Pereira's strengths and the challenges he could face in the rematch. Their conversation focused on whether Pereira can rely on power alone or if he needs to use wrestling and jiu-jitsu to compete against Ankalaev's skills inside the cage.
If Alex Pereira is able to take care of Ankalaev, it's a part 3 coming up.
I think it's Unk time, dude. I think Ankalaev is just different, bro. The only chance that, to me, Pereira has is just power catching him. What's he gonna wrestle? He's gonna do jiu-jitsu? Honestly, dude, I'm not hating.
I mean,
But-
he got some jiu-jitsu.
Oh, come on, Kush.
He
Oh,
got
my
some.
God. I'm gonna call Lee, dude. I'm gonna call Lee after this.
What?
Jesus, dude.
Just because, okay, listen.
You're
listen
just
to
being
me, listen
negative,
to me.
Nancy. No,
Listen to me.
no.
Just because he doesn't have to use it in the octagon means he doesn't have
No,
jiu-jitsu.
but-
We saw GC try to grab that single and he showed DC, hey, I got the D now. Pause.
DC is also paid by the UFC, if you didn't know.
I forgot about that.
I feel like I'm really the good guy in this damn show, Kamaru D.
Following the expert and fighter analysis on Pereira versus Ankalaev, the discussion shifted to Pereira's mindset and character outside the octagon. Rangel Farias weighed in, defending Pereira's pride and past experiences while criticizing Cancave's attitude. He highlighted that Pereira is mentally strong, well-prepared, and ready for a serious battle, showing that both physical skill and mental toughness will be crucial in the rematch. He said, "I agree with Alex, guys. From the moment you talk nonsense, you have to back it up. You have to fully stand by what you said, my brother. Alex has a lot of pride in his past. In the time he worked as a tire repairman, it was part of his life for sure." Furthermore, Rangel added, "That experience doesn't make Alex any less. On the contrary, Ankalaev, you showed you have very little strength in your heart, my brother. Now you're going to face a tough man, someone who has prepared for this fight and is ready for war with you. Last time you faced a tired champion with many commitments and no time to prepare. Now, the team is united and strong." Adding on, Nick Barnhill talked about the pre-fight behavior of Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. He said Ankalaev seems more confident while Pereira is acting like the bad guy. Barnhill also mentioned a recent face-off that looked messy and didn't create the tension fans expected. This helps explain the mental side of the fight before they step into the cage.
Exactly. So I feel like Magomed probably has more confidence. And then the other side of it that's kind of weird to me is it feels like Alex Pereira is playing like the bad guy, the boogeyman in this situation, you know, saying things like Ankalaev is afraid of me. They've had this altercation now at the UFC PI, which to me felt a little flat. And I feel like if Dana White knew about it, he'd probably be pretty upset that they're like leaking out this footage, but also these two guys are supposed to kill each other next week in the cage.
Barnhill then looked at Pereira's mindset ahead of the rematch. He explained that Pereira might feel he has something to prove after losing the first fight, which could make him more aggressive. Even though the fight was close on paper, Pereira's attitude and chip-on-the-shoulder approach could influence how he closes distance, defends takedowns, and lands strikes against Ankalaev during the cage action.
And they're sitting in the lobby perfectly fine having a Google Translate argument back and forth between 3 or 4 other people and a couple of phones all together. It was a bit of a mess, and I don't think it delivered the way they thought maybe it would. But it sort of makes me feel like Pereira's coming in with this chip on his shoulder, like, oh, this guy's a bad champion. He didn't even actually really beat me. Now, I didn't see it that way. I thought Ankalaev clearly won the fight. But a couple judges had a couple of rounds for Pereira, so it was closer on paper than people realized.
Finally, Barnhill discussed potential strategies for the rematch. He said Pereira will likely rely heavily on his hands and aggression to try and damage Ankalaev. However, if Pereira doesn't use a wider range of attacks or vary his techniques, the fight could look very similar to their first matchup. Both fighters know each other's strengths, so while it may be intense, it could follow a similar pattern.
And I think that if Pereira comes in with this chip on his shoulder and he's acting this way leading up to the fight, that makes me believe he's going to come in much more aggressive, looking for ways to, obviously he knows he can defend the takedown, so looking for ways to close distance and do a lot of damage with his strikes, primarily with his hands. But again, if he doesn't have a wide arsenal of weapons and he doesn't throw a lot of variety at Magomed, I have a feeling we're going to see the exact same fight take place again, probably for another 25 minutes.
As fight night gets closer, all attention is on Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. Both fighters have trained hard, stayed focused, and worked on improving their skills, making this rematch very unpredictable. Pereira comes in with elite striking and confidence from their first fight, while Ankalaev has studied Pereira carefully and sharpened his own techniques. Fans can expect a battle of strategy, speed, and mental toughness. Every move, every adjustment, and every punch will matter. This fight could go either way, and both fighters are ready to prove who deserves to come out on top. Who do you think will walk away victorious, Pereira or Ankalaev? Comment below and share your prediction.